Hey everyone, today I really just wanted to talk pretty openly about what socialism is, what it means, what definition or definitions can come out of answering the question. It's a question that once you answer, or once you provide your own definition, you open yourself to isolation or exclusion, and really just open yourself to getting on the bad side of a lot of different people who identify as socialists but would define it much differently, even in such a degree that they can be very hostile towards your socialism. So, I don't have some concrete list of the different kinds of socialisms, and I don't know if it's appropriate to try to break it down like that, but I can think of a couple different forms off of the top of my head. The first being socialism means the ownership of the means and the products of production being in the hands of the working class as opposed to the capitalist class. So being in the hands of what were formerly the employees rather than the employer. So it's sort of a transfer of ownership from capitalist modes of production to socialist, i.e. collective ownership or worker ownership. So there's one definition. That definition itself has a lot of issues because you have the state or other central authorities or central parties claiming representation, whether or not it's true. It could be true, but they're claiming representation of the working class, whether or not they identify themselves as a vanguard party or a dictatorship of the proletariat or some other leadership group for the working class. They will claim that that counts as socialism. Maybe it does. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say I have the exact answer here. So you have that, and then you have other socialists who say, well, no, socialism is actually just the transition from capitalism to communism through, ideally, the state, but otherwise, at least some sort of central apparatus. So we have, capitalism is going well, all the contradictions are serving up some sort of revolutionary fervor, and then boom, a revolution happens. People that are not capitalists take over the means of production. It could be the state, it could be a sort of guerrilla group, it could be the workers themselves. And then what they'll do is a transitionary program, i.e. socialism in their sense. And that is basically a state or, group management or a leadership or vanguard management of the means of production, and basically figuring out through a variety of calculations what is the best way to, one, rid of the sort of capitalist ideology that exists from the former capitalist sort of system that they were in, and then also, two, how to sort of wither away the state, classes, money, all those sort of things that are on markets, all those sort of things that are more or less intrinsic to capitalist domination. So one, a, leadership, non-capitalist leadership managing the means and ends of production, and two, a withering of state and class on its way to communism. So that is the second sort of definition of socialism, albeit it took me a bit to get there. The third definition of socialism, and trust me, there's much more than three out there, but a third is one that's much more broad, one that's almost entirely ethically based, morally based, rather than, necessarily getting their facts or worldview from, say, the dialectic or historical materialism of traditional Marxists or vulgar Marxists. So in this socialism, like I said, it's morally based. It really seeks to, definitely have a lot of problems with capitalism. Let's try to end that. But it's sort of broad. It's just like, we want a better world for everyone. We want everyone to be able to have access, equal access and opportunity, equal sort of upward mobility, just having a safe environment. Things like that are sort of broadly under the label of socialism now, whether or not this requires the state to take some sort of charge or authority position, whether it's through mutual aid or other non-government organizations. So those are the three sort of ideas. We have the one, three ideas of socialism. We have the one that is very focused on the worker ownership and management and, just worker ownership and management of the means of production. So, factories, capital itself, as in, spending power, how to distribute all these goods that are made in factories and other workplaces, and then the second definition being a sort of non-capitalist leadership position that is a transition from capitalism to communism, and it looks specifically at the sort of contradictions within the society that can that can be basically worked around to slowly wither away both capitalism and the state. Lastly is the moral position of socialism, which is simply saying, I want this world to be better for literally everyone. It's all about, diversity and inclusion and, getting rid of as many hierarchies and class distinctions as possible. But again, this is very broad. This is one that's much more emotion or morally based, and it's just like a sort of anger towards capitalist oppression and really just oppression in general and a desire for a better world. So a lot of people are now, especially young people, are taking on this sort of last definition of desiring something beyond capitalism. And that's definitely a good start, I think, but I am of the biased opinion that socialism is still, at its base, the, worker ownership of the means and ends of production. So that's really all I had to say today. No script. I'm kind of just rambling. Sorry if it took me a minute to get to my points. I just wanted to get that out there and maybe start another discussion. Let me know, drop a comment or whatever on what you think socialism is or what it should be. And yeah, that's it today. Thanks.